Hey everyone, welcome back to the Knicks Fix. I'm Alan Hahn. Okay, as we get you ready for the second preseason game in Abu Dhabi on Saturday, I want to give you a quick synopsis and analysis of the preseason opening win against the Sixers from Thursday. Final score 99-84. Biggest lead was 26. First half was where my focus was in this game because that's where the starters and the regulars played. So the Knicks led by 10, 53-43 at the half, a typical preseason opening game. It was a little sloppy, some poor shooting percentages. Nothing I would overreact to or anything like that, or anything we saw on defense. Let's keep in mind, too, teams are playing a pretty simple defensive sets. You're really not getting a lot of scouting. It's just basically a scrimmage, right? Only this was on the other side of the globe in Abu Dhabi. So I'll give you a couple of takeaways from the game. First and foremost, everybody's talking about Mitchell Robinson. Boy, he looked like he was in phenomenal shape. Now, granted, he was going against Adem Bona and not Joel Embiid, but it was still impressive. Robinson had 16 rebounds in 18 minutes overall. What was crazy, though, if you isolate it, he had 12 rebounds in just 9 minutes of the second quarter alone. 12 rebounds in one quarter. We should also point out that Mike Brown opted to go with Robinson as a starter next to Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, in my previous video, if you haven't seen it, I explain why this may be his go-to choice. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Now, both Knicks big men looked good together. Towns had 11 points and 5 rebounds in 17 minutes himself. And Brown said we shouldn't read into the choice to go with the big front line in the first preseason game. He said nothing has been decided yet, but even Josh Hart, who came off the bench in the game, couldn't deny Robinson's impact. On social media, Hart said, quote, "Starter Mitch is different," end quote. That was his reaction to a post about Robinson's great rebounding performance. Now, along with the 16 boards, Robinson did have 7 points. He had his nasty putback dunk, along with a block shot and a steal. So speaking of Hart, I really liked a late first quarter rotation move of Hart coming in with Jordan Clarkson and Deuce McBride. The trio came in and played with Towns, who had moved to center at that point, and McBride Bridges. And the game definitely sped up at that point. And you know that Mike Brown is pushing the Knicks to play faster. That group did. In fact, the Knicks had 15 fast break points in the first half, which was just slightly under their season average from last season. It was 15.7 for a full game. They should have had more points in that fast break points, but they did miss some very makeable attempts. In fact, they only shot 4 of 12 on fast break opportunities. You have to expect that's going to improve with rhythm, reps, and of course, once you get into the season. The best part of it is they had opportunities. 12 field goal attempts on fast break. That's pretty good. Brown actually said he wants the team to play even faster. His quote was, "We still have to take it 3 or 4 more notches." Again, it's a preseason opener. We don't overreact, but we are noticing a much different looking offense. Now, Hart only played 7 minutes due to an awkward fall that led him to tweaking his back. He was then ejected from the game because after he fell to the ground, he threw the ball up and it went into the stands. Now, that's an automatic ejection. Just understand, that's just by rule. You got to go. It's unfortunate, but we don't know if he would have returned to the game. The good news is the back thing is considered right now to be day-to-day. Also on the injury front is OG Anunoby. He didn't play in the game. He was a late scratch due to a wrist injury that is also believed to be a day-to-day situation. We'll certainly keep an eye on that. Anunoby is a very valuable piece to this team. And by the way, that's why Pacom Dadier, the second-year forward, he started. He had Anunoby's spot and allowed Mike Brown to stay into what would normally be a rotation rather than move someone up that would have been coming off the bench otherwise. The other player that really stood out for me that looked ready for the season is Deuce McBride. Just like Mitchell Robinson, he played with great energy. And while others were trying to find their rhythm, Deuce already had it. He was 3 for 3 in the first half, 8 of his team leading 12 points in that first half. The shot looked clean, and I was wondering in Abu Dhabi if they knew to yell Deuce. Now, McBride Bridges also looked good. He had 10 points in 17 minutes, knocked down a couple of threes, also got out on the break. Caught a nice 80-foot pass from Jalen Brunson for a layup. Now, I'm curious to see if we're going to see Bridges get a green light to leak out in a lot of situations to get those quick scores. We saw it last year happen to the Knicks a lot. It's something the Pacers and the Thunder, Chicago Bulls, they did a lot. And what it does, it kills momentum when you get those quick strike scores. Something I'd keep an eye on with McBride Bridges. Again, it's the first game of the preseason. A lot of this is new. And one example to explain here is Jalen Brunson. He had a very quiet game, didn't shoot the ball that well at 2 for 8. He probably, of all the players, might need the most time to adjust to this demand and up tempo and also giving up the ball. I did notice the Sixers pressed up on Brunson early in the game as if it were like a playoff game. We saw it a lot in the playoffs in the past, picking him up 60 feet from the basket. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Brown went to Nick Nurse and just said, hey, put some pressure on my guy. We want to work against it a little bit and see what it looks like. A few times Brunson quickly passed the ball cross court to get it away from the defense and then to get it up the floor. I think that's going to be a point of emphasis, and it certainly looks like they're trying to work on it in the preseason. Okay, so the Knicks have one more game in Abu Dhabi, as I mentioned, Saturday against the Sixers, before the team returns to New York to continue training camp. So until then, we appreciate you for watching. Of course, make sure you hit subscribe before you go so you don't miss any of my coverage of the Knicks this season. Until next time, thanks for watching.